Alrighty, welcome guys to the NBA live stream for Thursday. We got a 6-game slate to go over. So if you guys are new to the channel, how this works is we'll take a look at what we know so far, review the Vegas odds and go team by team, talk with the players I like, and then get to questions at the end. So the way the NBA has been going the last 3-4 days for me, whichever game I like the best is automatically going to blow out. And the games I don't like as much will stay close, maybe go to double overtime, something like that. That's, the way it's been going. So let's talk about what we know so far. So Gabriel Deck, whatever that is, will be available for the Thunder. Kyrie Irving is out. Again, another just knife to the stomach for my best ball team. Already down big. Everyone else is Westbrook, fully healthy team. Missing my top 2 players. Why not Kyrie out too? Sure, of course. Luka is doubtful. Porzingis, J-Rich are in. DFS doubtful. I think they both got ruled out. We do have news that Fred VanVleet is out. Steven Adams is out. Let's talk about Hernan Gomez. MPJ probable. Let's see. Kemba also my best ball team out or doubtful. Why not Capella too questionable? Just pile it on for the injuries for my best ball team. Who cares? Let's see. So Jeremy Lamb, Goga, both out. We'll talk about that for the Pacers. I think they run an 8-man rotation. Luka Doncic out. Again, Dorian Finney-Smith out. Porzingis in. J-Rich in. Porzingis and J-Rich won't have a hard minutes limit, whatever that means. So that's pretty cool quote there from Rick Carlisle. Really enjoy him as a head coach. And that's where we're at right now. So let's take a look at these Vegas odds. I'm going to refresh this, and then we can get to the team-by-team breakdown. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, Brooklyn and Indiana. This one is projected to be really high scoring. A 241 over-under. The Nets 4.5-point favorites. Mavs, Pistons, a 212.5 over-under. The Mavs 7.5-point favorites. Originally, when I first looked at the slate, I thought the Pistons were a team I was going to have a lot of exposure to. Now, not as much, right? The veterans are resting, but there's a lot of other value opening up on some of these other games. Golden State, Minnesota also projected to be pretty high scoring at 234 over under. Warriors 4-point favorites. Bucks, Rockets 234 over under. The Bucks are 13.5-point favorites, so there's some risks there, but there's also some reward, right? If you play Giannis and the game stays close, you get a massive game. On the opposite side for Houston, a thin rotation that if the game does stay close, you're probably going to see a big game from at least like 1 or 2 of like Wood, KPJ, Olynyk. Pelicans, Thunder also has some blowout risk, 231.5 over under. Pelicans 9.5-point favorites, and no Steven Adams. And Raptors, Nuggets, a 218 over under. The Nuggets are 4-point favorites. All right, so let me just check on one thing here. Sorry, I'm keeping an eye on some esports stuff. Okay, so let's give me a close game. All right, so let's start off with Dallas and Detroit. So KD, great play. Yeah, KD obviously looks really, really good. So on the Dallas side, again, Luka and Dorian Finney-Smith out. So we'll start with Kristaps Porzingis at 8.7K. I think makes for one of the better sped-ups of the slate. Without Luka, he does get a pretty massive boost. Like, there's no one in Detroit I'm scared about in the defensive end. The only thing you're slightly worried about is maybe, less minutes. But, yeah, that's really the only concern there. So I think Kristaps Porzingis is a really good spend-up. As far as the rest of the value goes for Dallas, waiting on the starting lineup. I think they could do a couple things here. It depends who they start. In games that Luka's been out, Brunson has started, and he's really gotten like a massive boost. But they did start Trey Burke that last game. So like whoever starts here between Burke and Brunson, in my opinion, is really good value. Trey Burke played 31 minutes in a blowout. He didn't touch the court in the fourth quarter. So he was on pace for huge minutes. Brunson not as much off the bench, right? So, but keep an eye on this one. If Brunson starts, I think he's one of the best values of the slate because he's actually a good point per minute guy. And if he does start, I think we probably get at least 30 minutes from him in a good matchup. So you can keep an eye on the starting line, but Brunson, Burke, whoever starts there, really like them for value. And then 2 other guys I'll mention as secondary plays here would be Josh Richardson, Tim Hardaway Jr. Obviously, with no Luka, there's a little bit of usage to go around. Hardaway, the drill by now. Minutes, probably 25 to 30. He's very scoring dependent, though. And then Jay Rich in his first game back, playable, but doesn't stand out as an amazing play. So, and I'm not touching the bigs. I'm not going to Maxi Kleba or Cauley Stein or Powell with Porzingis in. Let's move on to Detroit. So Detroit, again, team I thought I would have a lot more exposure to at the beginning or yesterday. But today, or like right now, they don't look as good. Again, no Grant, no Plumlee, no Corey Joseph. So the starting lineup will probably be Isaiah Stewart, Josh Jackson, Sadiq Bey, Killian Hayes, and then like one of maybe like Tyler Cook or Sekou. I don't really have a ton of interest there. We'll start with Isaiah Stewart at 6K. I think it's still viable for tournaments. He's had upside. He's gone for 50 plus, I think, a couple times in starts this year. So I do think Stewart, again, is going a little bit overlooked in the slate, but does have upside for GPPs. Josh Jackson, again, at 5'8", I think it's a fair play, but not a priority. Should get about 30 minutes. Obviously gets a boost with the veterans off the court. Sadiq Bey, a lower usage guy, but should play the most minutes. I think we probably get about 35 minutes from Sadiq Bey, around that. So he's obviously in play at 5K. Killian Hayes, I assume starts. I assume gets about 30 minutes. I think he's a pretty solid value play. Is he a must? No, but I do think he looks pretty good at his price. And then maybe a guy like Frank Jackson off the bench at 3.5, just because the price point. He should get probably around 25 to 30. If he starts, would feel a little bit safer about those minutes. And I'm probably, if like Tyler Cook or Sekou start, I just don't think we have to go there. There's a lot of value that is upside, and I don't want to play guys like that, basically, on this slate. So that is where I'm at for Detroit. Let's move on to Brooklyn and Indiana. Probably my favorite game to target right now. We have the Nets without Harden, without Kyrie Irving. So Kevin Durant, I mean, you guys kind of know what to do here, right? Offense to himself, fantastic matchup, and is priced at 8.5 and should play about 35 minutes, right? Pretty clear what you do there with KD. Love him. Joe Harris, Blake Griffin, Jeff Green are fine. If I had to pick one of like this mid-range group, it would be Jeff Green. The Pacers are a little bit thin in the front court, and might move, or might have the Nets kind of match them, go a little bit small ball. Jeff Green's played 35, 34, 37 minutes the last 3 games. I think he's a pretty decent play in the mid-range. And then value, there's a few guys we got to talk about here. The guards, really. So Shamet, Mike James, Tyler Johnson. So Shamet started the last game, played 33 minutes. Assuming he starts again, I think he's a pretty fair play. And then we have Mike James and Tyler Johnson that I think split the point guard duties. Tyler Johnson, not as good of a point per minute guy, but if we get 25 to 30 minutes from him, fair value. And then Mike James at 3.2. I actually do like, because he's a good point per minute guy, and I think he has to play minutes here. I think he has to play like 25-ish minutes, maybe a little bit more. So Mike James, I like for value there. Again, solid point per minute guy, just hasn't played a ton so far for the Nets. On the Pacers side, fine, go right back to Brogdon for GPPs. The 9K price might scare some people off. Still like the upside a lot. Like the pairing with him with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, obviously the optimal play, but still like Brogdon this price. I think he'll be low owned. I think he still has a ton of upside in a game that is 240 plus over under. 8-man rotation, which again, this game probably my favorite to target. Automatic blowout. It's automatic blowout. It's guaranteed the way the NBA has been going last 4 days. So that again, write it down. Blowout guaranteed for this game. Karis LeVert at 8K I think is firmly in play as well. Would rather get to Brogdon for a little bit more because he does more of the peripheral stats. But the top 2 guards both in play. This game is definitely stackable. McConnell, probably not. There's too many good guard plays in the slate. But we do have to talk about some of the forwards here. So Shea Brissett at 5'3", played 40 minutes, smashed in garbage time. But I think we get probably 30 to 35 minutes here. He's been pretty good. He'll play some small ball 5-2 when Jakar Sampson's in foul trouble, which is a guaranteed lock for him to pick up 2 fouls early in the first quarter. So Shea Brissett, I think, is a pretty good play there in the mid-range. I do like Edmund Sumner, too. I think he'll be a little bit lower owned after what he did to people last slate. He was a phenomenal play last slate and picked up 5 fouls in like 20 minutes and then didn't even play. He played like 2 minutes in the second half, so that was a lot of fun. But previous games, 37, 34 minutes. I expect mid-30s minutes from Sumner, which I think makes him a pretty decent value. And then again, Jakar Sampson, you can play him. Just know you're going to be in a lot of pain, right? So if you do play Jakar Sampson, you're guaranteed 2 quick fouls and for him to come out. But I think we get about 25 minutes, maybe more, if he can somehow stay out of foul trouble. He's not a terrible point per minute guy, so at least viable. Pacers are a team I like. Again, a thin rotation, great matchup. Definitely, again, this game looks pretty appealing to me. Okay, so let me move on now to Milwaukee and Houston. So real quick, though, I guess, we're about halfway in. If you guys could leave a like button on the live stream, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. We're at 300 viewers and 43 likes. All right, so let's talk about Milwaukee and Houston. Giannis Antetokounmpo is a really good spend up if you think this game can stay close. Now, this is where game theory comes into it, right? So we'll talk about the Houston side, but if you are playing Giannis Antetokounmpo today, I think it makes sense to run it back with one of those big 3 from Houston in Wood, Olynyk, and Kevin Porter Jr. The reason Houston is so shorthanded, they're going to run like 8, maybe 9-man rotation. The starters will all play massive minutes. So if you're playing Giannis, I think you run it back with one of those Houston guys. Or you just fully avoid this game and hope for the blowout. But yeah, if the Rockets can somehow keep this game close, again, you could see a massive, massive game from Giannis. And then the Houston side, just mentioned it, right? So if you're playing Giannis, I think it makes sense to run it back with one of these 3 guys. Christian Wood, Kelly Olynyk both smashed that last time. Kevin Porter Jr. was the chalk and shot 2 of 30. But he still has upside. So Wood, KPJ, Olynyk, I like for tournaments. I don't think anyone's going to get to them in a cash game setting. But if you are playing Giannis, I think it makes sense to run it back with one of those 3 guys. I don't have a super strong take on which one I prefer, but I would probably try to get to one of those guys if I am playing Giannis. Jayshawn Tate, more the secondary play. Would rather get to Olynyk, KPJ, Wood for a little bit more. Value for the Rockets, I'm not playing a Marty Brooks at 4.7. You couldn't pay me to do that. KJ Martin at 4.2. Fine, but I think there's better. There's value plays that have more upside on this slate. So that's where I'm at. Golden State, Minnesota. Steph Curry, like as a spend up, good tournament play. Should play 35 plus minutes in a close one. This game should stay close. Two teams that play fast, 2 teams that don't play a whole lot of defense, and Steph we know has insane upside. So like Steph, a good amount there for GPPs. Draymond Green will go overlooked in the slate, but he's still a guy that's triple-double upside in this type of matchup. So like him as a contrarian play in the mid-range. Oubre doubtful, so I think Bazemore, assuming he starts and looks like he will, becomes one of the best values in the slate. I think with him starting, probably plays at least 30 minutes. And Bazemore's a solid point per guy. It's priced below 4K in this matchup. Really, really do like Bazemore there for value. Wiggins, secondary play for me. And then off the bench, there's a couple guys that are viable here. Poole, playable in GPPs. Toscano Anderson, also playable, but neither stand out. And then Looney, Minnesota's a big team. He'll probably have to play all of Minsky and handle, which I think will be about 30, which makes him a fair value play. Does he have like insane upside? No, but again, he's fine as last piece in. On the Minnesota side, it's Cat for me at the top. We got to start there. He should be able to feast against his front court. As long as he stays out of foul trouble, should play 35 plus minutes. So do like Cat a good amount there at the top. Ant-Man, more of a GPP play. D'Lo, I think, is playable in both formats. Is a guy that should play about 30 minutes off the bench. Revenge game narrative. And he's done a lot of the assists recently. 6, 9, 12, 7 assists in 4 last 5 games. He's handling the ball more. He's shooting more, on the offensive end. So D'Lo, I think, is playable there in the mid-range, and then I'm probably not going to get to anyone else from Minnesota. All right, so 2 games left, guys. New Orleans and OKC. This game has some blowout risk as well, but with no Steven Adams, we'll start with Guillermo Hernan-Gomez. I think becomes one of the better value plays of the slate. Last couple games, 31, 24 minutes. 24 there was when Steven Adams played the first half. I think he plays. I think he starts. I think he plays about 30 minutes as long as there's no foul trouble. So really do like Hernan-Gomez there for value. If you want to get different, Hernan-Gomez will be the chalk. You can take a chance on Jackson Hayes and maybe hope there's some foul trouble. I do think they split the sentiments 48, but like I would say Hernan-Gomez probably plays about 30 and Hayes gets the rest unless something happens to Hernan-Gomez. And then Lonzo Ball, once again, mentioned him as a guy I liked a lot in the mid-range last slate. I like him again here. One for 65. Don't expect 65 again from Lonzo, but he's a guy that, again, has triple-double upside. Phenomenal matchup. The only thing you have to worry about here is potential for a blowout. And then Zion, Ingram, yes, I like the matchup, but the more secondary plays at their respective prices, I think I would feel better about other spend-ups. On the Thunder side, this basically stay away. Dort's there. I just don't think we have to go to anyone on the Thunder, so I'm going to be crossing them off. Finally, Toronto and Denver. Real quick, though, I guess we can check on news. Do we have any more news here? We got about 15 minutes until I'm going to get out of here. Still no news. Okay, so on the Toronto side, what we know is no Van Fleet. So Siakam, Kyle Lowry, both pretty solid plays at their respective prices. Neither priority, though. If I had to pick one, it would be Lowry since he's cheaper. All 3 of the big 3 have been very inconsistent. It's not the best matchup, but those 2 at the top look decent. OG, no thanks to that price. And Malachi Flynn's the guy we got to talk about. If he does start, I think he's a good value play. Assuming he starts, I would think we get about 30 minutes, maybe more from him. Again, 4K price point, a guy that can do some of the peripheral stats. So would like Malachi Flynn if he does start. If he doesn't start, then he's more of just a GPP play. Watanabe, Rodney Hood will eat some minutes, maybe like Bembry or Stanley Johnson, but no one I'm going to get to on this one. And finally, Denver. So Nikola Jokic at the top at 10-9. I think makes for one of the better spin-ups of the slate. Just has insane upside here. I'm not scared of Kem Birch or whatever Freddie Gillespie is. Like, he should just be able to feast against that front court. So really do like Jokic there at the top. MPJ viable at 8-3 as well. He has been phenomenal recently. He's been their clear number 2 guy. And again, should play big minutes. So MPJ definitely in play. Dozier, Gordon, Composer, Rivers, fine options. Composer had the big game last game. I don't know if we have to go to anyone here, though. I know, Composer, I know he had almost 50, but kind of feels like chasing a little bit. So, and then the bigs, like the backup bigs is really frustrating, actually. Like I was talking about this for the showdown slate. They rotate, sitting out one big. With Millsap, Green, and JaMychal Green, like he will rotate one of those guys getting a DNP every game, and it's like hard to kind of nail down which one's going to be. So at least for the show, I'm like, obviously you don't have to worry about in the main slate, but for the showdown slate, it is a little bit annoying because those are value guys you got to consider. All right, so that is where I'm at, guys, for my breakdown. We're still waiting on Dallas starting lineup news. Again, Burke or Brunson, whoever to start, becomes a really good value there. All right, so questions here. Yeah, Brissett or Bay? Give me Brissett there, and the reason being is I think he plays similar minutes, probably about 35 each, and I like the matchup a little bit more there for Brissett. And he's also been a better point per minute guy. And they have a thinner rotation. Like Detroit will probably run a 10-man rotation. Indiana, 8-man rotation based on what we've seen the last 3 games. Jokic, Edwards, or Curry, LeVert for GPP. Ooh, give me the second one there. D. Russ and Draymond or LeVert, Stewart with Durant. I mean, I like both options. I'll go with the second one. Who's playing Kevin? Yeah, Kevin Porter Jr. will be low owned, right? He was the chalk last night. He was a complete bust. He shot, again, like 5% from the field. But we've seen upside from KPJ. I do think he's a secondary play on the slate, but don't mind him for tournaments. Lock in Draymond at that price. I think Draymond's a good play. I think Draymond will be low owned. I mean, you guys know I love playing Draymond Green. Kevin Porter Jr. and Porzingis or Curry and Brissett. Ooh, that's a tough one. I think... I think we'll go with the second one. DK Brogdon or Porzingis at utility. I think for a cash game setting, it's Porzingis, but I do like Brogdon a lot for GPPs. Thoughts on Brunson? Love him if he starts. If he starts, I think he's one of the best values of the slate. If Trey Burke starts over Brunson, then I don't like him as much, so keep an eye on that one. Jokic or Giannis, better spend up. It depends. I will say, what do you think happens with the Houston game? If you think that game stays close, I might give the slight edge to Giannis over Jokic. But Jokic is in a game that is projected to be way closer. I think it's the safer option of the two. Dort or OG? To be honest, I'm not really considering either. I guess Dort, I think he has more upside, but I'm not really looking to either of those guys in this slate. Do you see New Orleans and OKC blowing out? Possible. I mean, there's probably every game's going to blow out in the slate the way it's been going last few days. So I think that game is probably second, I would say, behind Milwaukee and Houston with some blowout risk. Brogdon, D'Angelo Russell, Diallo, Durant. Yeah, so I don't think I play Diallo. It's just he's not playing big minutes on this one. I think there's just value plays with more upside. Everything else I'm fine with, though. Bledsoe on FanDuel, I don't know what his price is, but I just don't really like playing Eric Bledsoe. If he's really cheap, then you can go there. Yeah, Jokic or Cat, I think it's a close one, right? Because Jokic is about 11K, Cat's about 10K. I'm fine with either. I obviously think Jokic is more upside, but I think they're really close point per dollar. Like they're almost identical for me, in my opinion. What games are you targeting? Well, Brooklyn, Indiana, I think looks really good. Again, so that means guaranteed blowout. I think this Golden State, Minnesota game looks pretty good. Milwaukee, Houston has a lot of upside if the game can stay close. So that's kind of where I'm at for games. Small forward's ugly. It is, but you have Bazemore for value. I think he looks great. Porzingis or Draymond? It's got to be Porzingis, even though I love Draymond. Do you like Draymond? I think he's a secondary play on the slate, but still has upside. James or Hayes? Mike James for me. Mike James has had a lot more upside than Jackson Hayes. Brogdon, Brunson, Bazemore, KD, Hernangomez, James, Brissett, Jokic. I like that for cash. Yeah, I think it looks really solid. Frank Jackson or Mike James? Ooh, that's close. That's close. I think it's Mike James for me. I think it's close, but I think it's Mike James. OG or Lowry or Ball? For me, I'm not really considering OG, so it's Lowry or Ball. That's close. I'll go Ball. Porzingis or Draymond? Yes, Porzingis. Missed the initial video this morning. Thanks to live stream. You go in stars and scrubs. Good luck. Yeah, hey, how's it going, Mike? Yes, unfortunately, wasn't able to get a video out last night. But as far as this slate, I think it's setting up for that stars and scrubs. Right, there's a lot of value. So yeah, I think it's where I'm leaning. Small forward for 7.2K and below. Let's take a look. 7.2K and below. Okay, so I mean, I personally would rebuild. I would, but if I had to pick, it would just be Wiggins against Minnesota with no Oubre. Man, I don't really like playing Andrew Wiggins though. So Brogdon, Brunson, Tim Hardaway Jr., KD, Hernangomez, Hayes, Bazemore, Jokic. So you're playing both Hernangomez and Jackson Hayes, is that correct? Or Killing Hayes. Okay. Yeah, you got it. There's two Hayeses. So I see no issue with that. Again, Tim Hardaway Jr. is just the guy that is a little bit of a frustrating roster. I think he plays 25 to 30. I don't think he's a priority, though, with Porzingis in there. If he makes his shots, he has the upside. best 10K plus player. Yeah, I mean, it's close, right? Because you got Giannis, Jokic, Steph, and Towns. I will say if that Houston game stays close, I think Giannis has the most upside, but this game has the biggest blowout risk. I think Jokic is probably the safest of the guys at the top for what it's worth there. Lonzo, Draymond, or Curry and Brissett for cash. I mean, I think you can play Steph and cash because of this matchup. So I'll go the second one. Small forward, ugly. Yep. Sumner or Killian Hayes at 4,400. I think they're pretty similar plays. I think both play some pretty big minutes. I think Sumner gets about 35 as long as he doesn't pick up 5 fouls in 10 minutes. I think Killian Hayes, from what we've seen, should get over 30. That one's basically a coin flip for me. I don't really have a strong take there. Yeah, Mike James or Killian Hayes. Point per dollar, I think it's James, but Hayes is probably a little bit safer unless Mike James starts. But I do expect, again, Brooklyn ran an 8-man rotation basically the last game, so I'm expecting similar rotation there from the Nets. Yeah, Lonzo or D'Lo. Ooh, that's close. I'll go Lonzo because he does more of the peripherals. Best play at small forward, I think it's Bazemore. I think it's Bazemore for value. Are you high on D'Angelo Russell? I think he's a pretty solid play. Not a must play for me, though. You don't think 9K is too much for Brogdon. It feels a little bit pricey, so he's more of a GBP play for me. I don't think I play Brogdon in cash games. I like him a lot, though, for tournaments. So, yeah, that's my feelings there. I don't think he's an optimal play, right? You got KD. You probably got Porzingis. I think those two at their respective prices look like the optimal plays. But I do like Brogdon for tournaments. Can you fade Porzingis? Yes, you can. That quote may be a little bit worried about his minutes. All right, sorry if I'm missing some stuff here, guys. It's going a little bit fast, so feel free to repost it if I skip over it. Kevin Porter Jr. or D'Angelo Russell? If you're playing Giannis, give me KPJ. If you're fading that game in general, give me D'Lo. Brogdon and Jokic or Curry and Towns. Ooh, I'll go the first one. It is close though. You like Karis LeVert revenge game? Don't mind it. I do prefer Brogdon for a little bit more, but I think he's firmly in play as well. So yeah. Are you playing LeVert? Honestly, I haven't really. I'm waiting for Dallas starting lineup news until I've finalized my build. Is my lineup dead before Trevor gets drafted? Houston gets probably the way it's been going. Houston goes should and still play big. Yeah, Houston I like for tournaments. I like the Houston guys for tournaments. I think Olynyk, Wood, and Kevin Porter Jr. are all going to go kind of low owned. But if that game stays competitive, you might see a big game from all three, to be honest. So yeah, I think that's a game that is intriguing for tournaments for sure. I think so. I think Porzingis gets probably 32, 35 minutes would be my best guess. But you never know. Who's the best point per dollar play? Small forward. Again, I think Bazemore looks great. Let's see. Ford, 5,900 and under. 5,900 and under. I'm not sure who you already have. I just kind of didn't say. So 5,900 for Ford. It's probably Josh Jackson or O'Shea Brissett. One of those two. Middleton or OG Middleton there. Do you like LeVert revenge? I think he's firmly in play. Is Porzingis going to be limited? They said no hard minutes limit. So I think he plays pretty similar minutes, but you never know. Again, it's just an awful quote from Rick Carlisle, who you guys know I am not fond of for DFS because he is just, his rotations are always so hard to try to nail down, just so inconsistent on a night-to-night basis. Kelly O's the last base end, perfectly fine for me. Yeah, Killian or Brunson. Brunson if he starts. Burke, I like Burke only if he starts. If he comes on the bench, he's a little riskier. Ball, Edwards, Bazemore, Durant, Jokic, Burke, Brissett, Shamet. Contrarian, again, I think I only play Burke, though, if he starts. Thoughts on Mike James, Burke, Bazemore, KD, Jokic, Steph, Hernangomez, Lonzo. Yep, again, want to repeat, though, like with Brunson versus Burke, I think I only play whoever starts. Can you still play Burke if Brunson starts? I probably wouldn't. I think there's better value on the slate. Oubre, doubtful. Yep, Trey Burke, let's see. If Trey Burke starts, Burke or James, that one's close because we'll see. We got to see what the Nets do too. If Mike James starts at point, then I would prefer him to Burke. So keep an eye on that one. Thoughts on Brogdon, Burke if he starts, Bazemore, KD, Hernangomez, Ball, Sumner, and Cat. I like it for tournaments. Curry and Jeff Green or Killian Hayes and Jokic. Yeah. Give me the second one there. Porzingis and KPJ or Brissett and Curry. Probably the second. Who are your two or three favorite values? It kind of depends on Dallas, right? So I'm waiting on a starting lineup there. I think there's good value. You got Bazemore to weak small forward position. There's a good amount of value here. We got some Nets guys like Shamet, like Tyler Johnson, like Mike James. I think all look pretty good. Even Jeff Green. So I don't know if there's two or three standout guys, but that's kind of what I'm looking right now is waiting for the Dallas starting lineup. We got some guys for Brooklyn. We have, possibly a guy like Malachi Flynn if he starts. We have Hernan Gomez is starting, or most likely starting. There's a lot of value. There is. We got the Detroit guys like Killian Hayes. Even Frank Jackson is viable. We got Sumner. There's actually a lot of value. There is. So Lowry or Lonzo. Yeah, it's a close one. I might give the edge slightly there to Lonzo. Best forward for 4,700 or under. Okay. I honestly think it's Sumner for me over Hardaway. And the reason is I'm more confident in his minutes. And because besides his last game where he had 5 fouls, 37 minutes. And yeah, I like the matchup here. So I will actually go Sumner there. Armani Brooks for value. I don't think I can stomach it at that price. He's 4,700. He's just, yeah, I don't think I can stomach it. Thoughts on Mike James, Brunson, Bazemore, Durant, Towns, Curry, Brissett, Hearn. I like that a lot for tournaments. Yeah, I think it looks really good. Brogdon, Frank Jackson, Bazemore, KD, Hernan Gomez, Mike James, Olynyk, and Jokic. I have no issue with that. I think it's a good tournament lineup as well. Kelly O and Brogdon or Towns and Josh Jackson. Ooh, I'll go the first one actually. Tyler Johnson. I will say this. I think I prefer Mike James to Tyler Johnson. I think Mike James is the better point per minute guy. If Tyler Johnson starts, then it's a little bit closer, but still might give the edge to James on the bench. Who's your favorite spend up besides KD? I think optimal build-wise is probably Porzingis. Without Luka, he looks really, really good at that price, assuming there is no limit. And with a quote from Carlisle, I mean, it's just an awful quote. No hard limit. I think that means there's basically no limit, but you never know. Killian Hayes, Brunson, Bazemore, KD, Hernan Gomez, Lowry, Draymond, and Towns. A little bit contrarian for sure. I think Lowry will go a little bit lower owned. He obviously has some upside. Draymond will be low owned too. Again, has the triple-double upside. Been a little bit inconsistent, though, this season. So, yeah, I like it as a contrarian build. If Jalen and Burke both start, do you prefer... Oh, I would rather have Brunson. Yeah, would rather have... If both those guys start, give me Brunson over Burke all day long. Siakam or MPJ? Give me Siakam, I guess, with no fan fleet. I don't love the play, though. Shamet or Josh Jackson? Point per dollar, it's Shamet, actually. He's at, 4.3 as compared to Josh Jackson at 5.8. If price doesn't matter or their price... closer together in FanDuel, give me Josh Jackson. Mulder, no, thank you. Thoughts on James, Brunson, Bazemore, Durant, Towns, Curry, Brissett? Yeah, I like that for tournaments. Kevin or Porzingis, LeVert, or Jokic, Olynyk. I mean, I like both options. That's so tough. Might be the first slightly. Brunson or Hardaway? Brunson, assuming he starts. Brunson, just a guy I would prefer to Hardaway because he does more of the peripherals. Mike James, Brunson, Bazemore, Durant, Hernan Gomez, Lonzo, Porzingis, Cat. I like that. $2 super chat from Sunflower. Thank you, man. Justin Bieber versus you, 1-on-1. Who would win? I have no idea how good Justin Bieber is in basketball. So no idea. Me, I'm kind of just an average player. So I don't know. I think it'll be close. Towns and Bazemore or Jokic and Jay Rich. And I do like Justin Bieber too, by the way. So Towns and Bazemore, Jokic and Jay Rich. Probably the first one. I like Bazemore better value than Jay Rich. Curry, Brunson, Bazemore, Durant, Hernan Gomez, James Porzingis, and Ball. I like that for cash. Curry and Sampson or Brogdon and Brissett. I think it's the second one. And the reason is, first you got Jakar Sampson, who's just kind of locked to get in foul trouble. So let's see. Petition to ban Rick Carlisle. He's the worst. He is the worst. Taking DK. I think I could take him in the post for sure. Mike James, Brunson, Bazemore, KD, Towns, Curry, Brissett, Hernan Gomez. I like it. Bazemore or Sumner. Ooh, that's close. I'll go Bazemore just because he's a little bit cheaper, but I like both for value. Thoughts on James, Brunson, Bazemore, Durant, Hernan Gomez, Lonzo, Porzingis, Cat, GPP. Like it. Thanks, DK. Lonzo or Russell. Give me Lonzo there. I have 2K left. DK gonna Sabonis down low. Flynn or Killian Hayes. Ooh, that one's also close. I think it's basically a toss-up if Malachi Flynn starts. If Malachi Flynn comes off the bench, I think I'll prefer Killian Hayes. Are you excited for NFL draft? Sorry, a little off topic. No worries. Yeah, I am. I'm probably not going to watch it a ton, but I am excited. Hopefully, the Lions will botch it, no doubt about it. I feel like DK is a dirty three-point sniper. No, actually, kind of the opposite. I'm more of a Rajon Rondo-esque. Can stuff a stat sheet. Good rebounder. I can finish around the rim, but I'm not a good outside shooter. I don't even shoot outside. DK watching NFL draft? Yeah, I probably will be watching it. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think Bieber's pretty good. So we'll see. Kristaps Porzingis could still get like 50. Yeah, Porzingis I think looks great. How tall are you, DK? 6 foot. So yeah, Brooks is starting. I just don't know if I can play him at that price. He's 4.7. I just think there's better. There's value with more upside, right? Armani Brooks, if you played him like, what was that slate where a lot of guys, it was like last week where a lot of guys for Houston are out. Or it was even like maybe like 4 days ago. I don't know. I can't tell time. Like I have no recollection of like how far away days all blend together. But he literally played like 22 minutes and had like 4 fancy points. Rajon Rondo-esque. Bazemore, McDermott, Bazemore for sure. That literally kind of like when I play, like I played in the league here in Chicago. That's kind of what I average. Is nothing crazy, but 8 points, 6 boards, 9 assists. Yeah, probably around there. Are you playing Porzingis? I'm debating about it. I think he is one of the better plays of the slate for sure. All right, I'm Ross DK on Draftkings tonight. All right, guys, I got to wrap it up. So appreciate everyone coming to check out the live stream. Let's hope for no blowouts. Let's hope for no blowouts. The game I have the most exposure to is Brooklyn, Indiana, which means it'll be a guaranteed blowout. But hoping that game can stay close. Good luck. Keep an eye on Dale's starting lineup. We're going to get that soon, right? Brunson, if he starts, again, becomes a great value. If he doesn't start and Trey Burke starts, then I like Trey Burke. So that's one to monitor. But enjoy the live stream a lot, guys. Appreciate everyone coming to check it out. And I will see you guys back here tomorrow to close out the week on Friday. So I'll see you guys then.